Oh, yeah, here we go again. Hello, and welcome into Ray on Sports. I am your host, Johnny Ray. In this podcast, we talk all things sports from my own opinion. You may agree or you may disagree, but all I do is ask that you listen. So come on in, buckle up, and let's take this ride. Hello, and welcome again to Ray on Sports. This is Johnny Ray, your host for Ray on Sports, coming to you live from the JCR studios in Lancaster, California. We got a lot to get into. Sorry, I've been off for a while. I've been, it's been the holiday season, been trying to get everything together. Been kind of, busy week, with kids out of school, things of that nature. Some stuff I had to take care of. I was trying to get on podcast at least every week, but things happen. But it's okay. I'm still here. Thank you guys for my first season. Went real well. I had 25 episodes for my first season. A lot of interesting guests. Very, very good. Very, very good guests. But we're going to get back right into it. So thank you guys for listening. Remember, if you missed any of my episodes, any of my past episodes, you can go to Apple Podcasts. You can go to Buzzsprout. You can go to Amazon. You can go to YouTube. I have a YouTube channel called Ray on Sports. If you want to go to that, just type in at Ray on Sports 0905, and you can find the YouTube channel. You can find all of my past episodes, my past guests, anything that you want to listen to. So going into that, also, if you have your smart speaker, you can tell your smart speaker to play Ray on Sports, whatever episode you want to listen to, and it will play the show. Yes, thank God for all the media that I've had, all the information that I've had. Thank God for all the guests that I've had. Thank God for blessing me with this podcast. Because it's a way of release, and it's kind of hard to do sometimes, because I have so much going on. Life keeps lifing, so there's a lot of things going on. But I thank God that I'm still able to do this podcast. I'm still able to reach the people and reach you guys. And if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns about the podcast, reach out to me. You can reach out to me at rayonsports0905@gmail.com. Once again, that's rayonsports0905@gmail.com. So this episode, I'm just going to kind of talk a little bit about, there's a lot of things going on. You have the NBA going on. You have the NFL going on. You have the college football playoffs going on. Not playoffs, I'm sorry. College football going on this weekend. This weekend is what they call in college football rivalry week in college footballs. So today, there's a couple of games going on. A couple of games already happened in college football so far. Right now, I was just sitting here watching the Alabama, Arkansas, the Iron Bowl. And right now, Alabama's leading 14-16 and a half. Been pretty good. Jalen Milroe is doing this thing, doing pretty well in it. Let's see what he's doing so far. Let's see some stats real fast. Okay, Jalen Milroe right now, he's 9 out of 15 for 141 yards and 1 interception. And that 1 interception, I saw that. Actually, it was an overthrow. What you have to believe in any sport, especially in football, when they call interceptions and they talk about interceptions and how they affect your game. The most thing about it is sometimes an interception could be just a bad read from your quarterback, or it could be a bad route by the receiver. But the majority of the time, it goes to the quarterback because it goes on his record as an interception. It doesn't go on his record as doesn't go on the receiver's record as an interception because the receiver's just running the route. If he runs the wrong route, or if he gets snagged, or the defensive end, or the safety, or the I'm trying to think of the other guy, the linebacker, or anybody like that, knocks him off his route or knocks him off his thing, and the quarterbacks expect him to go away he's supposed to go, sometimes he does not make it. So, in that case, he will miss it. But like I said, it's an interception. It will go to the quarterback. So like I said, the one that I saw from Jalen Milroe, 9 for 15, 141 yards, one interception. That one interception was an overthrow. He tried to throw it high because he saw the safety bearing down on his receiver, and he figured if he threw it high enough, his receiver would go up and get it, and he missed it. So it was actually, the safety behind just happened to fall right into his lap. So not going to think, not too much to put too much on that, because right now Alabama's leading 14-6 at halftime over the Auburn Tigers. And I believe for Alabama, they need to win to get into the college football playoffs, because they're 8-3 right now, and a win would get them, I think, a 20% chance to get into the college football playoffs. If you don't know about the college football playoffs, yeah, that's a beast in itself. It's a new system that they started this year, a new 12-team college football playoff. They had it before. Now they're starting a new system right now that, teams, even though you're ranked, it doesn't mean that's how you're going to go in the 12-team playoff just because of your rankings. It's a big breakdown to it. I'll get to it sometime in another episode. But right now, like I said, I'm just going through it right now. Right now, the college football rankings right now, you got Oregon at number 1 at 11-0. They got 11-game winning streak going right now. 11-0. Of course, you got 11-game winning streak. Number 2 is Ohio State at 10-2. Number 3 is Texas at 10-1. 4 is Penn State at 10-1. You got Notre Dame at 10-1. You got Miami of Florida at 10-1. And the reason why you say, well, why these teams all of them are 10-1, but how does Texas get over Penn State, Notre Dame, and Miami? It usually depends on the game that you lost, that the college football, who's the people of that who run that thing. It depends on how they feel about it. How they feel about this. Your strength of, it's called strength of schedule. It's called about the play the teams that you've played. How good are the teams you played? And should you have blown them out or should you not have blown them out? Like if you lose to an unranked team, a no-name team that you should be blowing out, and your odds of you winning are like maybe 3 touchdowns, and you win by 3, or you barely win the game by 1, then it hurts you a little bit in the ranking because the CF college football powers that be look at that as how that affects your ranking. So a lot of teams, they're in this. That's why the 10-1. That's why Miami is at number 6 at 10-1, even though they're undefeated. That one loss came late in the year, and I heard this sometime. I think I heard this on Freddie and Harry, which is Freddie and Harry on ESPN Radio, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern on the ESPN, the mighty ESPN app, or ESPN Radio. If you have your satellite radio, you can catch them up on ESPN. I think it's channel 80, if I'm not mistaken. But one of my favorite shows that I always like to listen to. And one thing Freddie Coleman did say was that usually it's not the earlier games that hurt you, it's the later games that the committee looks at, college football committee looks at. And if they see one of your games and they see you struggle, it might rank you a little bit lower just because of the way you played and the way they thought you should have won and you didn't win. And there's some teams that, are undefeated and they're not even in the ranking at all. And that's those teams like the Army teams, your Navy teams, the teams that are not in the big conference, the Big 10 conference or the top, whatever top 5 conferences are. So sometimes they don't get ranked at all, but they still play good. But then, like I said, they look at your strength of schedule, they look at the teams you play, they look at the conference that you're in. Now, the SEC is the hardest conference. SEC and the Big 12, I think, is the hardest conference out there. And you got Oregon in the Big 12, you got Ohio State, you got Texas in the SEC, I believe. Usually in the SEC, they usually run the thing. Because last year when it was just, I think it was the top 4 teams, I think there were majority of them were SEC teams. This year, it's a little bit different. Like you have a team like Notre Dame that's ranked 5th. Notre Dame's not even in the conference. But because of the way they play and because of who they beat, they bumped them up there. I think they beat Ohio State. And I think that's that. Oh, they lost to Ohio State, I believe. Let me see. Let me look back at their schedule and what their loss came against. Who their loss come against? Oh, Clemson. Clemson beat them. So, I'm sorry. Am I looking at the right thing? Could be. Yeah, I think Clemson beat them. So that's, like I said, those are the games that really matter. You lose against a ranked team, and it counts dividends against your record. Oh no, they lost to. Maybe I'm looking at this wrong. November. I think the schedule started in November. Yeah. So they believe they lost to a Clemson team. And people thought they should have beat Clemson, and Clemson actually beat them. But the other games they've won, they've blown people out. They beat Florida State 52-3. They beat Virginia 35-10. They beat Navy 51-14. Georgia Tech, they beat them 31-13. See, scores like that. They beat Stanford. Stanford was, not really that good. They beat them 49-7. But, it's teams like that, and it's games like that that count against you in the ranking. They look at those games and says, that game, that ranking, that should do it. So that's about what's going on in college football right now. Right now, Notre Dame Notre Dame is tied with USC right now, going to the third quarter. They got 13 minutes 16 seconds going in the third quarter, and it's 2nd and 3 at the USC 29. USC has the ball, and Notre Dame is tied with them right now, and USC is not even ranked. So if Notre Dame loses to USC, it might affect their ranking. Just might. Later on this day, you got Oregon going against Washington, which should be a blowout, but you never know. It's college football, and on any given Saturday, just like in the NFL, on any given Sunday, any given Saturday, anything could change. So that's more the majority of the college, what I want to talk about. Some other games going on. Oh, well, I'm looking at right here. Michigan beat Ohio State. See, there you go right there. Now, Ohio State's ranked 2 in the nation, and Michigan just beat them by 3. So that's going to weigh heavy with the committee. Not in the national rankings, but when the college football playoffs, when they start ranking that thing, that's going to weigh heavy. Because this is called rivalry week. So they're saying all these teams should be, putting up style points. Like Colorado yesterday beat Oklahoma State, which was their rival, 52-0. With Travis Hunter having an awesome game on yesterday. Is it Travis? Yeah, Travis Hunter. Yeah, he had a heck of a game, and they talked about him as a player that he's okay, but he's not okay because he plays both ways. But yesterday he had 10 receptions for 116 yards and 3 touchdowns. And if you don't know it, he also plays defense. And on defense, I think he had an interception on defense as well. So those things matter. Yeah, he had 1 pick. 1 tackle and 1 pick yesterday. So those things matter because what they're saying is there hasn't been a player like him that plays both ways that had a game like that where he actually had a touchdown on defense and an interception on offense. And for him to go 10 catches for 116 yards and to turn around and play defense and have a game like that, oh yeah, they're doing something out there in Colorado. And Shedeur Sanders, 34-41, 438 yards and 5 touchdowns and 1 pick. Not bad at all. So those things matter in college football. Colorado's right now is ranked 25, but with that win, it might bump them up. It might not, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think let me try to see if I can find the brackets, the college football playoff brackets, because on the college football playoff brackets, it's actually talking about, what's going on, what the last rankings were. College football playoff bracket and what the last ranking was. So right now, as of 3 days ago, so right now, like I said, you may be ranked one way, but you're seeded different in the college football playoffs. Right now they have number 9 Tennessee taking on Georgia in the first round, and they have number 12, I believe that's Vanderbilt, number 12, taking on Ohio State. Oregon, and I don't know who that is. Let me look at this. I'm getting confused right now. College football brackets. Let me see. Yeah. So the way the bracket, like I said, the playoff, the rankings doesn't match the playoffs. It's different. So the bracket uses a committee of top 25. Uses the committee's top 25 rankings on Tuesday. It's important to note that the top 25 rankings do not always match the seed in the playoffs. As of the 4 highest ranking conference champions receive the top 4 seeds and buys, no matter where those 4 teams rank in the top 25. So what they're saying is, even though you are ranked maybe 15 in the nation, you might get a bye because you're the highest ranking in your conference. And if you're a conference champion and you're leading your conference, then you'll get a bye. Like, even though Miami is ranked 6 in the nation, they still get a first round bye because they're the top ranking in their conference. Boise State also gets a bye because they're the 4th highest ranking in their conference in the Mountain West. So that sees them in number 4. So this is how the breakdown goes right now for the college football playoffs. You got Oregon, the highest ranking, Oregon ranked number 1 in the nation, but it's the highest ranking conference champion in the Big Ten, and they're seated at number 1. Ohio State, they're second team in the Big Ten, but they're seated number 5th in the college football playoff. You got Texas, second ranked highest conference champion, and they're seated at number 2 because they're high in their conference. Like I said, the Big Ten and the SEC is the highest ranking. You got the Big Ten, the SEC, ACC, the Big 12 and Mountain West is the conferences that are represented in this college football playoffs, and that's considered the top rankings or the top college teams in the nation. So that's how that goes. So, like I said, then going down the line, once again, we got Penn State at seeded number 6, Notre Dame seeded 7, Miami seeded number 3, which gets the first round bye because they're highest ranking in their conference. Got Georgia seeded number 8. You have Tennessee at 9. You have SMU seeded at 10. You have Indiana at 11. Boise State's at 4. Clemson they say Clemson the first team out, and Alabama is the second team out. So Clemson and Alabama are not even in the ranking. And Arizona State are not in there, but according to, it depends on what they do today. Like Clemson, I think Clemson lost today. So with their loss today, that might hurt them a little bit. Or I think they won today. Maybe they won today. So that's what's going on with college football. I won't spend too much time on that, but let's move over to the NBA. Well, actually, you know what? Before we go to the NBA, let's go to the NFL. Now, happy belated Thanksgiving to all those who had a good Thanksgiving. I hope you had a lot of turkey. Hope you had a lot of stuffing. Hope you had a lot of mashed potatoes. Hope you had a lot of dessert. We had a little feast over here. Had some mac and cheese, had some string beans, had some turkey. Pretty good. Wife did a wonderful job as always. As always, she's a wonderful cook, so can't complain. But I hope you guys had a good one. Now, Thanksgiving Day, oh my God, in the NFL, oh my God. You had 2 games that day. Actually, you had 3 games that day. You had the Bears and the Lions, you had the Cowboys and the Giants, and you had the Dolphins and the Packers. Out of all 3 of those games, I think the Dolphin-Packer game was pretty good, even though the Packers won 30-17. And, Dolphins have never won in cold weather, and they continue that streak of not winning in cold weather. But they did okay. As far as playing in cold weather, they tried their best, but the Packers were much better than them. The worst 2 games, actually the worst 3 games, were the Bears and Lions. In my opinion, the worst 2 games were the Bears and Lions and the Raiders and the Chiefs, because the last minute of the game, Bears games, last 36 seconds, Bears are down 23-20. All they had to do was march the ball down the field, kick a field goal, take it to overtime, and take the chances in overtime. But because of an inadequate head coach, Mike Eberflus, who was fired the next day, mind you, they didn't get it. They ran one play. I was watching the game going, what the heck is going on? They ran one play. I forgot what it was. They ran a play. They still had a timeout left. They ran a play. Caleb got sacked, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. He got sacked. And, well, let me look at it. Okay, so here's what it was. So the fourth quarter, they got a score. Caleb, they scored 20. They stopped Chicago, and they scored. They came back twice. Keenan Allen scored a 9-yard pass from Caleb, and then DJ Moore scored a 31 pass. And the Keenan Allen touchdown, they tried to go for 2, and it was failed. So that didn't work. But then that would have got it closer. So if they'd have scored this touchdown, they won the game. But oh my God, was it horrible? Can I say it was horrible? It was horrible. Horrible. Can I say it again? Horrible. That last 3 minutes of the game, I don't know what was going on. I don't know what to say. I don't. It was horrible. It was at the point where the coach should have called a timeout. That's all I can say. The coach should have called a timeout when he had time, because Chicago had the ball, had momentum in their hand. They had scored 13 points in the fourth quarter, and they held Detroit scoreless in the fourth quarter. And they had a chance to either tie or win the game, and it was bad clock management. And everybody that I heard from, every announcer, every analyst, everybody on X, everybody on any sports, any kind of media you look at, was saying, what was going on? How can you do that? It didn't make sense to me. It did not make sense to me. And they held they held Detroit pretty good, because Detroit only scored like 4 field goals in the first half. Yeah. Well, they had 1 touchdown in the first half, but 1 touchdown and 3 field goals. That's what they had in the first half. So Chicago was holding them. And then in the third quarter, Chicago started, doing a little something. Third quarter, Chicago scored a touchdown. And then Detroit came back and scored one. And then, like I said, in the fourth quarter, they scored 2 touchdowns. So they had momentum on their side. But it was bad clock management on Matt Eberflus's part. He's the coach. I put all the blame on him. Even though you got a rookie quarterback, he doesn't know the game management like that. It's your job as a coach to say, hey, hold on, it's not working. Because I think they had like a 2nd and 10, and then he got sacked or something like that. And all they had to do was get in field goal range. That's all they had to do. But if you would have called timeout, calmed them down, said, this is the play we're going to run. We need to get X amount of yards. If we get X amount of yards, we can get our kicker out there and kick a field goal. Now, mind you, the kicker had missed a couple of field goals as well. But if he would just did that, that would have been pretty good. But, of course, they didn't, and they lost the game. And the next day, Matt Eberflus got his walking papers. I don't understand it. Now, another game, Raiders and Chiefs, 17-19. See that score? 17-19. Hear that? 17-19. Now, the Raiders had nothing to play for. They were 2-9. Didn't have too much to play for, but they played their hearts out, and they played well because even though Patrick Mahomes had 26 for 46 with 306 yards, he only had 1 touchdown. He only scored 1 touchdown. Look at the score, 19. They only scored 19 points. Aiden O'Connell was 23 for 35, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns. They had it going. Brock Bowers, a beast. He's the next George Kittle. He's the next Travis Kelce. 10 receptions, 140 yards, and a touchdown. So they had it going. But like I said, in the fourth quarter, it was a false start by the center. All he had to do was same thing, get the ball down the field, kick a field goal, they would have won the game. But the center did a false start, hiked the ball. Quarterback, Aiden O'Connell wasn't ready for it. I don't know what happened. I don't know what it was. And then afterwards, I'm watching the center who had the false start. No, it wasn't the false start. It was the legal formation. Because him hiking the ball in legal formation does not kill the play. So he hiked the ball, legal formation, which means the play can keep going. And Aiden wasn't ready for it, so it hit him, which caused the fumble, and KC recovered the ball. Bad. Can I say bad? That's teams that are not used to, in my opinion, that's teams who are not used to winning. So when you're not used to winning, you give up things like that. You give up when you're in that situation. You don't know how to handle it. If that was Patrick Mahomes in that situation, it would have been a whole totally different thing. Patrick would have got that ball down the field. He would have knew the clock. He would have knew everything. He would have game managed that whole thing, that whole situation, and it would have probably turned out a whole different way. But because it wasn't game managed by Aiden O'Connell. I don't know. Well, I think it wasn't only on him. It was only the hiker. I don't know what he heard. It was loud, and they were in Arrowhead, so it was loud. But I don't know what he heard that made him do that. And then after it was over, he yelled and get mad. But it was your fault. You did it. You messed up the game. So that was that. That was that game. The other game, that was the Giants and Cowboys. Oh, that was horrible. I don't even want to talk about that game. Giants, both teams are bad. But all of a sudden, Cowboys on a 2-game winning streak. They won last week against the Commanders, and they won this week against the Giants on Thanksgiving Day. Highlight of the play was highlight of the day. What was it? DeMarvion Overshawn. They threw it. They was trying to throw a screen. What's his name? Drew Luck was trying to throw the screen. He threw it. I don't know who he's throwing to. Well, he knew he was throwing to, but Overshawn stuck his hand out, tipped the ball in the air, looked at it, caught it, boom, ran it back. 23-yard interception return. Bam, touchdown. That was the game. That was the game. The rest of the game was like, it was what it was. But that one play changed the whole dynamic of that game. I think New York could have won that game. But after that, I think it just, one thing happens like that, and it goes snowball from that, and you can't recover. So after that, I think, what's his name? Drew Luck was as bad as they thought he was. 21 for 32, 178 yards and 1 interception. Cooper Rush wasn't that much better. 21 for 36 for 195 yards and a touchdown. But, it was what it was. New York had horrible quarterback. They got rid of Daniel Jones. They released him. Then they had, God, what's the guy named? DeVito. After one game, they said, nah, he ain't the one. So they put Drew Lock in there. Now, mind you, Drew Lock came into training camp as the number 2 quarterback. But for some reason, the way he played, it made him number 3 and it made this dude DeVito number 2. I want to say Danny DeVito because that's what it reminded me of, but it wasn't Danny DeVito. But didn't work. So that was another loss to them. So that was that game. The other game was the Dolphins Packers. Like I said, the Dolphins Packers was okay. I watched it. It was pretty good. Tua Tagovailoa coming back, 37-46, 365 yards and 2 touchdowns. Then wasn't that bad, but like I said, cold weather. And Jordan Love was 21 for 28, 274 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Josh Jacobs, that boy is a beast. He only had 19 carries for 43 yards, but yeah. The reason why I know he's a beast because he played the Niners last week and he ran all over us like we was nothing. And I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. I can't take it. I can't take it. Last week he beat us. I'm saying this because that's my team, the Niners. But he beat the Niners 38-10. And in that game, Josh Jacobs had 26 carries for 106 yards and 3 touchdowns. We had a backup quarterback in, Brandon Allen, 17 for 29, 199 yards, a TD and a pick. And, our defense is not what it needs to be. Our offense definitely wasn't what it should have been because Brock Purdy did not play in that game. So as I digress, I'm sorry. I'm a diehard Niner fan, and it hurts me. So that was going on this weekend in NFL. Still got games on Sunday to come up. Let's see, games coming up this week. So what we got coming up this week? Which would be some pivotal games. Texans against the Jaguars. Not really. Yeah, Texans should beat the Jaguars, but you never know. Colts and the Patriots. That should be a Colts win. Chargers and Falcons, that's a toss-up. Chargers did play well last week, though. So we'll see against the Ravens. So we'll see how that goes. Seahawks against the Jets. Seahawks should win that game, but the Jets might be playing for pride. So Seahawks, you better be careful. You better be careful because you're playing at MetLife Stadium, so you better be careful. Titans against the Commanders. Commanders should win that game, but we'll see. Steelers against the Bengals. That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a great game. That's going to be probably my game of the week, would be the Steelers against the Bengals. Also, you have the Cardinals against the Vikings. That's going to be a good game. Vikings started off hot, been kind of, hitting us, bumping the road recently, but they should be okay. They might come back and do something. Rams against the Saints. Yeah, Rams. Buccaneers against the Panthers. Panthers are not doing anything. Bucs should win that game. Eagles against the Ravens. That's going to be an awesome game. You got the 2 of the top running backs in the league in that game. You got Saquon Barkley going up against, what's that dude? Oh my God, what is that dude's name? Oh, Derrick Henry. 2 of the top 2 of the top running backs in the league. So, what is Derrick Henry going to do this week? So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It should be a good game, but you never know. You never know. And you got Saquon on the other side. Saquon's been having a dynamite year. And then I noticed that they said that every running back that got traded to another team or signed with another team, the team they left is doing horrible. Horrible. But we'll see how it goes. So we'll see if Lamar can pull it out, or we'll see what Jalen Hurts will do. You never know. That's one of the games of the week. In the last game, a couple more games. Sorry. You got the Broncos. Oh, yeah. So the Sunday night game is the Niners against the Bills. Oh, my God, in Buffalo. Oh, my God. Is Brock Purdy starting? Don't know. So if Brock doesn't start, it's going to be another bad game for us. Our cornerback, Demondor Lenore, is not playing with a knee injury. I don't know if I haven't heard anything on Brock yet, if he's playing or not. They said he's questionable right now. But Purdy, now they say now he's expected to play. Nick Bosa still won't play because he's still out with an oblique. And Williams, Trent Williams, they're starting left tackle, might not play. He's definitely out. But Purdy is expected to play, so we'll see. But like I said, it's in Buffalo. Josh Allen, I try not to bet against Josh because Josh is a beast. So you never know. And it's snowing right now in Buffalo. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I'm a diehard fan, so I'm pulling up for my team, even though they might not win. And all those people that's gonna talk about me the next day about how bad we played, I'm gonna have excuses that we didn't have this, we didn't have that. But still got to play the game of football. It's always next man up. And the last game of the week will be the Browns against the Broncos, which should be pretty good because Browns always play hard, no matter how they do in the division, how they're seeded. They always play hard against the Broncos. So we'll see how that goes. Moving on to the NBA. Last night in the NBA, oh my God, another heartbreaking for me as a Laker fan. Saw my Lakers drop one to the OKC Thunder. LeBron didn't play that well, but that dude, Dalton Connect, that boy's for real. That boy's been averaging 20 points since he's been putting in the starting lineup. And one game, I think he had 9 threes. So he's pretty good. But last night was not the night. But last night in the NBA, we had Knicks over the Hornets, 99-98. Jalen Brunson, 31 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. Brandon Miller for the Hornets, 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. So that game went down to the wire. You also had Cavs against the Hawks. Now, this is the second time this week that the Cavs has played the Hawks, and the Hawks got their number again. Remember, the Cavs started off 15-0. Then they lost to the Celtics, and now they lost to the Hawks twice. So somebody between the Celtics and the Hawks have figured out the Cavs, figured out how to play the Cavs because they beat them decisively. It wasn't no tight game. It was 117 and 1-1, so that was a decisive win right there. For the Cavs, you had Evan Mobley with 24 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 assists. And for the Hawks, Jalen Johnson had 20 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. Also, you had the Grizzlies who played against the Pelicans, blowout. I saw some of that game, a little bit of that game. John Moran is a beast. He's back. If you slept on him, the boy is back. As long as he stays healthy, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. So for the Pelicans, you had C.J. McCollum who had 30 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. But you had Ja with 27 points, 3 rebounds, and 7 assists. So Ja is doing his thing. If you didn't know, now you know that Ja is doing his thing. So that was it. And like I said, my Lakers, oh my God, 101-93 against the Thunder. Horrible game. Tried to do what they kind of do, but they kind of fell short. So there's some other games in the NBA, but that's it for this week on Ray on Sports. I'm not going to take too much of your time, but we're going to come back next week with we can come back and listen to some more stuff. Sorry, my wife's texting me and talking to me. I was looking at what she was trying to text me. Sorry, in the middle of my recording. My wife always catches me like that, but it's okay. I love her anyway. Yeah. So that's it for this week on Ray on Sports. My name is Johnny Ray. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to catch me on all platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. And if you tell your smart speaker to play Ray on Sports, it will play Ray on Sports. Just say, hey, Alexa, play Ray on Sports, episode 1. I don't want to say it too loud because my Alexa's already over there. They might hear what I'm saying. They might start playing something. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for today. Thank you for tuning in. And until next week on Ray on Sports, thank you for taking this ride with me. Take care and God bless.